Okay, so you're thinking about picking up The Housemaid, but you're not sure if it's worth your time.
2 million ratings on Goodreads, though, right?
Right. Some glowing.
Some brutal.
It's a lot to wade through.
It is.
So let's just cut to the chase.
Let's do it.
This one is a quick, twisty read, perfect for a weekend binge.
Absolutely.
But is it actually good?
That's the question, isn't it?
That's what we're here to figure out.
That's what we're going to do today, and we're going to be laser focused on you, the thriller enthusiast.
Yes.
Do you want a book that's smart and nuanced?
Ooh.
Or just a fun escapist ride?
Ooh, good question.
By the end of this deep dive, you'll know if The Housemaid is the right fit for you.
Perfect. So basic setup. We've got Millie, an ex-con, trying to rebuild her life.
Okay.
She lands a job as a live-in maid for this wealthy family, the Winchesters.
Ooh, sounds nice.
Sounds idyllic, right?
Yeah.
Except things get dark fast.
They do, and Esther Rocha, a reviewer we found, calls it frighteningly intriguing.
Okay.
But the question is, does the writing actually deliver on that promise?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because a lot of Goodreads reviewers had some strong opinions about the writing style.
Yeah, like shockingly badly written, strong.
Yes.
Because I saw that
Yes.
one from Emily Books with Emily Fox on YouTube, and ouch. That doesn't sound promising.
No, it doesn't, and she's not the only one.
Really?
It's definitely polarizing.
Okay.
You see, Emily specifically called out the dialogue as cringy.
Okay.
And I have to say, she's not entirely wrong.
Okay.
There are moments where the conversations feel forced, almost like a soap opera.
Okay.
But then you have reviewers like Esther Rocha praising McFadden's writing for being so engaging.
So is it a case of bad writing that's somehow still addictive?
It might be.
Because I know those books exist.
Oh, yeah.
The ones you can't put down even though you kind of hate yourself for loving them?
Yes, and that's a great way to put it.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a common thread with The Housemaid.
Okay.
Another reviewer, Lit with Lee, described the writing as Dear Diary style.
Oh, interesting.
You get Millie unfiltered thoughts,
Okay.
which can be entertaining but not exactly subtle.
Okay, so maybe not the most sophisticated prose, but it keeps you hooked.
Yeah,
That's a something at least.
it's something.
But what about the actual story? Does it live up to the hype?
That's where things get even more divisive.
Oh, no.
We've got Millie, our protagonist, who some find relatable and sympathetic.
Okay.
She's got this troubled past. She's desperate for a fresh start.
Right.
But she also comes across as incredibly naive.
I mean, she is an ex-con working for this super wealthy family.
That's true.
There's bound to be some naivetes there, right?
Right, but some readers felt she was too trusting,
Too trusting.
especially given her past experiences. Like, come on, Millie, haven't you learned anything?
Right. Fair point.
Yeah.
Then we've got Nina, the wife.
Oh, boy.
Now, she's a piece of work.
Yes, she is.
Esther Rocha called her manipulative and detestable, someone whose sudden mood swings were more intriguing than frightening.
Wow.
Is she a good villain, at least?
Well, Nina is a trick one.
Okay.
On the one hand, she's clearly unstable, possibly even dangerous.
Oh,
You get hints of mental health struggles.
okay.
But she's also incredibly cunning.
Okay.
It's like she's playing a game and everyone around her is a pawn.
Ooh, okay. That does sound intriguing.
Yeah.
But does the book actually deliver on the twists and turns? Because I saw one review that called it predictable.
You're talking about Angie Cox?
I said Angie Cox.
Yeah, she said the author tells you what's going to happen,
Ugh,
which, let's be honest, is the worst in a thriller.
it's the worst.
You want to be surprised, not have everything spelled out for you.
Right.
And Andy's not alone.
Really.
Quite a few readers found the twists obvious.
Ugh, I hate that.
It's frustrating.
Like you're trying to figure out the mystery and the author's basically dropping handfuls of foreshadowing.
Exactly.
It just feels insulting.
It does.
But then you have reviewers like LTJ who found the ending incredibly satisfying and unexpected.
I know. It's wild.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
So some find it predictable, others find it shocking.
It depends who you ask.
What's going on here?
I think it comes down to how attuned you are to thriller tropes.
Okay.
The Housemaid borrows heavily from popular books like The Woman in the Window or The Girl on the Train.
Okay, so it's playing it safe.
It could be,
Maybe relying on those familiar elements to keep readers engaged.
yeah,
If you've read a lot of those types of thrillers, the twists might feel obvious.
they might.
Right. And it's interesting you bring up The Girl on the Train because The Housemaid also utilizes the unreliable narrator device.
Oh, good point.
Okay, so we've got unreliable narrators, a potentially unstable wife, and twists that might be predictable if you're a seasoned thriller reader.
Yeah,
Is this starting to sound a bit formulaic?
a little bit.
Yeah.
It definitely falls into the category of what we call a popcorn thriller.
Popcorn thriller?
It's a fun, easy read,
I like those.
but not necessarily groundbreaking or thought-provoking.
And for some readers, that's exactly what they're looking for.
Exact.
But if you're craving something more original, more intellectually stimulating,
Yeah,
this might not be the one.
you might want to skip it.
Exactly.
And to make things even more complicated.
Oh, no.
One reviewer, Meredith, went so far as to call it a ripoff of The Last Mrs. Parrish.
Oh,
Now, whether that's a fair assessment is debatable,
okay.
but it does raise questions about originality.
Oh, man. Plagiarism accusations are never good.
Never good.
So are we saying that The Housemaid is just a rehash of other popular thrillers?
Well, not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's more like it's hitting all the familiar beats,
Yeah,
which, again, can be fun if you're in the mood for that kind of thing.
right.
But let's talk about those deeper themes you mentioned earlier,
Okay.
because I do remember some reviewers mentioning class disparity as a big element in the book.
Absolutely. And this is where The Housemaid gets a little more interesting.
Okay.
We see the stark contrast between Millie's life and the Winchesters' world.
Right.
She's struggling to make ends meet, dealing with the stigma of being an ex-con.
Right.
Then you have this wealthy family living in their pristine mansion, seemingly oblivious to her struggles.
Okay, I can see how that would create tension.
Yeah.
But is it just surface level, or does the book actually delve into the complexities of that dynamic?
It does go a bit deeper. For example, there's the scene where Millie is cleaning the Winchesters' lavish bathroom,
Okay.
and she finds a bottle of perfume worth more than her entire month's rent.
Oh, wow.
It's a small detail, but it really highlights that economic gap and how isolating it can be for Millie.
Oh, wow. That's a great example. It's those little moments that can really make a theme and resonate.
Yeah.
But what about the manipulation aspect? Is
Ah.
it just Nina pulling the strings, or are other characters involved?
Well, Nina is definitely the mastermind. But the book also explores how Millie's desperation makes her vulnerable to manipulation.
Okay.
She's so eager to please, so afraid of losing this job that she ignores some pretty obvious red flags.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, early on, Nina asks Millie to do some things that are clearly outside the scope of her duties as a maid,
Oh.
like running personal errands or even covering for her lies.
Mm.
And Millie, despite her gut feeling that something's off, just goes along with it.
See, that's what I find interesting, that internal struggle.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, you can sympathize with Millie's desperation,
Right.
but on the other hand, you're like, girl, open your eyes.
Exactly. And that's what keeps you reading.
Yeah.
You want to know how far Millie will go, how much she'll compromise herself to maintain this illusion of.
Okay, so we've got class disparity, manipulation, a naive protagonist. Sounds like there's more to The Housemaid than just cheap thrills.
Yeah, it's got letters.
But let's be honest, a lot of people read these books for the twists. So is the ending satisfying?
Ah, the ending. This is where The Housemaid either wins you over completely or sends you running for the hills.
Oh.
Remember how some reviewers found it predictable?
Yeah.
Well, the ending is where that predictability goes into overdrive.
Oh, no. So it's like the author throws all subtlety out the window and just goes to the most outlandish, over-the-top conclusion.
Kinda. Without giving too much away, there's a big reveal that while shopping on the surface,
Yeah.
feels completely unearned.
Oh, no.
It's like the author took a bunch of random plot twists and threw them in a blender.
Oh, that's so disappointing.
Yeah,
Especially after the book builds up all this intrigue.
I know.
Right. And this is where the comparisons to The Woman in the Window and The Girl on the Train become really relevant.
Yes.
Because those books, while not perfect, at least attempted to ground their twists in some kind of psychological realism.
Exactly.
The Housemaid, on the other hand, just embraces the crazy.
It really does.
So it's like a soap opera where the writers just keep escalating the drama until it becomes completely ridiculous.
It is.
But I guess some people are into that.
Exactly. And to be fair, there are reviewers who loved the ending.
Oh, wow.
They found it unpredictable, exciting, even empowering.
Interesting.
But for those who crave a more grounded, believable conclusion, it's likely to be a major letdown.
Okay, so we've covered the good, the bad, the crazy.
We have.
Ultimately, who is this book for?
Yeah, that's the question.
Because it sounds like a very specific type of reader will enjoy this one.
You're absolutely right. The Housemaid is definitely a guilty pleasure read.
Okay.
It's not going to win any literary awards.
Yeah.
But it's perfect for those moments when you just want to escape into a world of over-the-top drama and shocking twists.
Right.
Think of it like a bag of your favorite cheesy snacks.
Ooh, okay.
Not the healthiest choice,
Right.
but undeniably satisfying in the moment.
That's a great analogy. So if you're looking for a thought-provoking, nuanced thriller that will stay with you long after you finish reading, maybe skip this one.
Yeah,
But if you're in the mood for something fast-paced, twisty, and unapologetically entertaining, The Housemaid might be just what you need.
exactly. It's all about knowing what you're getting into.
Right.
And hey, sometimes a little escapism is exactly what the doctor ordered.
So final verdict is The Housemaid worth your time?
That, my friend, depends entirely on your reading preferences.
Okay.
If you enjoy books like The Woman in the Window or The Last Mrs. Parrish,
Yeah.
you'll probably find something to enjoy here.
Okay.
The key is to manage your expectations.
Right.
Don't go in expecting a literary masterpiece, and you might just be pleasantly surprised.
All right, so there you have it, our deep dive into The Housemaid.
We did it.
We've explored the writing style, the characters, the twists, and those deeper themes that might surprise you.
Yep, and we addressed the controversy.
Yes.
The love it or hate it reactions, the comparisons to other popular thrillers,
Right.
and that wild ending that's sure to spark debate.
Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to read The Housemaid is up to you.
It is.
But we hope this deep dive has given you all the information you need to make an informed choice.
We do.
And remember, the best part of reading is discovering what you enjoy.
Yeah.
So dive into The Housemaid and see what you think.
Give it a try.
You might just find your new favorite guilty pleasure.
You never know.
Thinking about all this, it really makes you wonder,
What's that?
what does make a thriller truly satisfying?
Ooh, that is the question.
Is it the cleverness of the plot,
Yeah.
the believability of the characters,
Mhm.
the quality of the writing,
Right.
or some magic combination of all three?
It's a great question. And I think for a lot of readers, it comes down to that feeling of being genuinely surprised,
Okay.
of having your expectations subverted in a clever way.
Yeah,
The Housemaid definitely tries to do that,
tried.
but it relies more on shock value than on building suspense organically.
So it's like the difference between a jump scare in a horror movie
Yeah.
versus that slow-burning dread that really gets under your skin.
Exactly. One is a cheap thrill.
Yeah.
The other is a more sophisticated form of suspense.
Right.
And while The Housemaid has its moments of genuine tension,
Okay.
it ultimately leans more towards those over-the-top twists that, while entertaining, don't really leave a lasting impact.
That makes sense. And it's interesting because a lot of the reviews we looked at mentioned feeling let down by the ending.
Yeah.
Like the book had potential, but it just didn't stick the landing.
It didn't quite get there.
Right. And I think that speaks to a larger point about what we as thriller readers are looking for.
Yeah.
We want to be entertained, yes,
Of course.
but we also want to feel like our intelligence is being respected.
Right.
We want to be challenged,
Yeah.
to have to think critically about the plot and the character.
Absolutely. So it's not just about escapism.
Okay.
It's about having a reading experience that feels both engaging and rewarding.
Absolutely. And while The Housemaid might provide a few hours of escapist fun,
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily offer that deeper level of satisfaction that comes from a truly well-crafted thriller.
That's true.
Well, there you have it, our deep dive into The Housemaid,
We did it.
the good, the bad, and the undeniably twisty.
We covered it all.
We've covered the writing style, the characters, those divisive plot twists,
Uh-huh.
and even explored some of the deeper themes the book touches on, like class disparity and manipulation.
We did.
Ultimately, whether or not you decide to pick up The Housemaid is entirely up to you.
It's your choice.
But hopefully this deep dive has given you a better understanding of what to expect,
Yeah.
and maybe even sparked some thoughts about what you value in a great thriller.
That's what we're here for.
And remember, reading is a journey of discovery.
It is.
So keep exploring, keep challenging yourself,
Yes.
and most importantly, keep having fun.
Exactly.
Happy reading.
Happy reading.